Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Warrior 2. The last one we did some more exploring around the world, getting another crest, and a couple other items in the process. And now we're going to continue on. Now, you might remember a part or two ago, we got an item called the Watergate Key from, Raj Fastfinger down in, Wellgarth. It's time for us to put this to use, and to do that we're going to need to head east of the island Baronzon. And we're going to need to head through this river. Now, there's another river to the south. However, you cannot get to our next destination through that river yet. There's going to be the land blocking the way that you can't get through. And there's also new enemies, like the Hunters. Hunters have around 65 HP, and they can drop an Iron Sphere. They're, pretty much nothing but pure attack. Don't let them hit you. That's pretty much it with them. And, be careful on the land around here, because you can encounter some powerful enemies like puppet men and sorcerers. Puppet men have around 60 HP, and they can drop a wizard's ring, and they have basic attacks, and they can dance strange jigs to steal your MP, which is not fun. And I forget if I'm... Oh, they can also cast Increase, which increases everyone on their party's defense. I forget if I mentioned at this point. I think I may have, but I'm not entirely sure. But the spell Firebane is pretty much Infernos on all on all enemies instead of just on a group of enemies. Also, fun fact: when you're in these mountains right here, you can actually encounter enemies from earlier in the game because we're directly south of the southern Dragon's Horn at this point. You can also run into metal babbles around here, which are essentially metal slimes that don't give nearly enough more experience to warrant the increase in HP, so yeah. However, you can also run into hippobangos. Hippobangos have around 60 HP, can drop a chainmail, which is useless at this point. However, they hit hard. I'm a bit higher level than you probably usually are at this point, so I'm good, but yowza, they can kill you easily if you're not around my level. Come on, make it. Head up. Thank you. And welcome to the town of Tuhn. That's T-U-H-N, by the way. Now, there's two things we can do in this town for now. Don't save here or use the inn, because we're going to be returning later, so I don't recommend doing that. You can buy the Falcon Sword here, which is actually a very interesting sword. It hits the enemy twice. However, it has very weak base power of its own, so you need to wait until your attack stat is high enough to negate that. However, one of the two reasons we're here is this guy. I think this guy's name is Don Mifune. But he's the one that the loom and the dude's yarn are for, and he's going to make us a water flying cloth, which is an equipment item we want. At this point, you can technically go back and get those two items again, and then you can get a second one. That can actually be pretty useful. I'm not going to do it, but you can if you want. My voice feels very strained right now, and I'm not sure why. Either way. What we're about to do isn't entirely obvious, because, I doubt on anyone's first playthrough they can know they can do this. We want to go into here. Why? Welcome to the Watergate. I wonder what we use here. Now, outside the town, you may have noticed that there was a bit of a beach. Now that we opened that Watergate, the beach is no longer there, so now we can actually use the lower river to get to Tuhn directly. However, you might have noticed back when I gave those items to Don Mifune for the water flying cloth, he says we're going to need to wait a day. Now what does this mean? A certain amount of time or anything? No, actually, what it means is that you have to save and quit and reset the game. So I figured might as well show off the dialogue that happens when you reset the game. Or quit the game, at least. And no, I do not wish to continue my quest until about 10 seconds from now. This is one of those games where you're going to want to press the reset button before you press power so you don't accidentally lose your file. Zelda 1, Final Fantasy 1, and a lot of other games did that. But now that I've reset, he's good, so what I'm actually going to do is cut back to Tuhn just because reasons. Well, actually, not entirely. I'm going to cut back to the original river and then show you the fact that now we can get there much faster through the river that is slightly to the south of it. if I'm ever coming back to Toon, or cutting even, I'm coming through this route, so keep that in mind. And right here, on this little vertical stretch I'm on right now, 3 of those tiles were desert before. You cannot get over here via boat on that river until now. So let's go get that water flying cloth. It's an equipment item, as I said earlier. The Prince of Cannock and the Princess can equip it, but I'm only giving it to the Princess because I didn't do the thing to get a second one. So I'm going to throw away her previous equipment item and actually give that to her once we go and get it. Hello, sir. And what's weird is that they actually give it directly to the Princess, which is kind of odd. They don't do that often. Let's see what that gives her. Holy, that's a good jump. Well, it's a decent jump. Keep in mind that she had no equipment on at that point. And with that, we're pretty much done here. At this point, I want to do level grinding. I want to grind until my main character is at level 22. The 8 metal slimes are actually very common around this area, so I recommend doing that. It's pretty much the best way to go about it. And after that, I actually want to do something here in Osterfair itself. I actually want to buy 2 specific items relating to body armor entirely, because as you notice, my main character and Cannock both have no armor on. By the way, I should mention the water flying cloth cuts fire damage just by half. But what I want to buy here are 2 magic armors, one for the Prince of Cannock, one for the main character. For the main character, especially who I had the Armor of Gaia on, it's not as good defense-wise, however, it increases spell resistance by 25%, so that, in my opinion, that's worth it. Still a pretty decent defense, though. Not the best defense, but it's good enough. Yeah, it's pretty good. And with that, we're actually going to cut to Tentacle, if I recall correctly, yep. And head on to the next, well, not really storyline, because this game's storyline doesn't really drive you to go anywhere in particular. The old Dragon Quest games are very exploration-based. 4 thankfully changed that up a bit. We're going to head to another tower, which is actually directly south of this part of Alefgard. And there it is. I forget if this place has a name. Actually, what do I call it? I used to call it something, but I don't remember what. Also, I want to give the Staff of Thunder to the Princess at this point, since the Prince of Cannock has Firebane. What the Staff of Thunder, I forget if I've explained this or not yet. I really should just write down what I've explained, just in case. But what it does, it's essentially a free Inferno spell. So essentially, if you ever need to use Infernos from the Princess, just use the Staff of Thunder from the here on. You'll be good on MP, and you can have her mainly focus on healing. Now, this is a place that a lot of first-timers probably get lost in, and for good reason. This place is the most maze-like area we've been in yet. And it also has some new enemies like the Enchanters. Enchanters have around 40 HP, and they can drop a Dragon's Bane. And, of course, they can cast various spells. I think mostly buffs and debuffs, though. Also, what's really weird, as you notice, we're fighting mummy men here. A lot of the enemies in here are enemies you've fought before, are mostly things from, like, Charlock Castle or the Dragon's Horn. Because you can still fight Medusa Balls and Gorgons here. It's weird that they did that. You can also run into an enemy that I didn't, if I recall correctly, which is the Undead, which looks like a skeleton. It also has the Pargon Bat on his shield. I'm gonna say right now I don't run into one of them, if I recall correctly. They have around 65 HP, lottery tickets, they just do a lot of physical damage. Nothing too big if I recall correctly. And there are chests in this area, but I don't go for all of them because it's pretty useless at this point. Considering I got 44 gold there and I already have near max, it's pretty worthless. Oh, well, I think it's safe to say with this part alone, I put like 6 hours of the game in because of the level grinding I had to do. Because if you thought the level grinding earlier was all I was going to do for now, ho, you are wrong. Hopefully you guys have other Let's Plays up so you can keep time for grinding. Or have have something else to listen to while grinding. Unless you really do enjoy listening to me ramble, in which case, thank you. Also, don't fall off the tower by going off the edge, because that would suck. Alright, let's see what's next. Freaking Gorgons. I remember that fight was a Gorgon that gave me a lot of trouble because it upped its defense all the way, and that was annoying. Anyway, new enemy, Dragonflies. That's a rather boring name, then again, Majora's Mask had it as well. Dragonflies have around 40 HP each, can drop a Dragon's Bane, and obviously they can breathe flames, which is pretty much the Inferno spell against you. Nothing too bad. In fact, the Lizard Flies earlier are a bit more dangerous just because you weren't as high leveled back then. Because as you can see, Fire Bane and Infernos take them down very quickly. Oh, and also, I should mention, as you just saw there, I got gold in a treasure chest. Just because you get a chest doesn't mean you got that enemy's drop. A lot of the times, it could also be gold that you got. I don't know why that is, but it's a thing. Mind you, I don't mind it that much. There have been much worse. Hey, get back here! Oh, great, an escort mission. He's gonna take us to the crest. Honestly, this is actually pretty easy because there's only really one path you can go along. I don't know what's actually down those stairs. I've never tried. And I know you can talk to the guy, but I don't know what he says. You know, I'm kind of surprised. I remember this game's encounter rate being higher, but then again, I'm probably thinking of Final Fantasy II. I mean Japanese 2, not Super Nintendo 2. Super Nintendo 2 was my favorite Final Fantasy. But anyway, enough about Final Fantasy and my Dragon Quest / Warrior. Let's get that crest. Alrighty, what we got in here? What the? Ow, trap. This is just a fight against 4 gremlins, nothing really worth showing at this point, and after you beat it, you get the Stars Crest. And with that, we're actually done here. Not much left to do. I'm actually just gonna jump off, and jumping off somehow leads me into Welgarth. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. I sold the Dragon Killer for my main character off-screen, so I can get the next sword here. The Light Sword, which is very powerful. It can do 30 damage to metal slimes, and considering how high their defense is, that's pretty good. Wow, that nearly doubled my attack. Oh boy, that's good. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in between this part and the next part, I'm actually going to do some more level grinding. I want to grind until my princess is around level 19. That's just me being safe. And I'm also going to start the next part at Toon, just to let you know. So, yes, thank you guys for watching, and with that said, I'll see you guys in part 7. See you guys then.